I can understand there's lots of people, they like the kind of movie where in the end it's all explained by this thing and then they want to watch it again and see how it all fits. Me, I'm more of the who gives a shit.
Okay, so wherever you want to start.
Well, why don't we do the one that we've all seen?
Yeah,
Stephen,
exactly.
you just watched. I don't know. I mean, to tell you the truth, guys, I was thinking of ending things with being. I'm trying to pull a Charlie Kaufman. Right?
I've already milked,
yeah, I know.
I've milked those jokes to death already.
Did that movie end?
Yeah,
sure.
I don't know if it's begun actually. So
I have to say too, because in the Marvel era, I'm very aware that you have to watch the credits. Turn it off and go to the IMDb because you might find some plot. So all I knew was there was something after the credits for this movie. So I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited and the credits were over and there's the truck with the snow on it. And then you hear a car and that's the added scene. I'm like, what the? I sat around watching these credits just for that.
I think I missed that. I don't think I went to the end.
I did see it and it was quizzical. I didn't understand.
Mr. Robot's done that 2 seasons. They've had something deep into the credits.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
they do that a little bit. Maybe it's a new thing. They do that in the Scorsese Fran Lebowitz documentary, which I highly recommend, by the way. But it caught me off guard, and they did. I think he did it every episode. They'd start running the credits, and then he'd have actual more footage, which was important stuff after that. So it's kind of neat, actually.
yeah.
I have an app that doesn't do me much good now. It's for going to the theater, but it's called Run P. It's for old guys. It tells you the 2 or 3 spots in the movie where it's best for you to go pee if you have to. It gives you a little like 3 minute synopsis for what you missed.
That's great.
Okay, it doesn't do any good at home, but the thing is, it also includes the credit stuff, and it'll say, after 2 minutes of credits, there'll be a scene. You don't want to miss it. After that, there isn't anything else, and so then you can leave. I find
look the crying game up on that, and I can tell you what scene's not there.
Yeah, they do say that on occasion. Whatever you do, like those long Avengers movies that are like 3 hours long, and you really got to pee, and they'll say, whatever you do, be done peeing by 2 hours and 12 minutes. The rest of the movie you don't want to miss.
So, Stephen, I had a feeling that you would not take that well to. I don't know why I thought that. I just, based on what I know of your taste, and obviously you could well have surprised me, but you just sent us an email a short time ago saying you pretty much hated all of I'm thinking of ending things. So, and it's fresh in your mind. So, any opening thoughts on it?
Well, I should, start with the good stuff. As usual, acting is something that I like, and having the 2 of them in those 2 long driving scenes was fine. Jesse Plemons was perfectly cast because he seemed like a regular guy at first, a little bit hesitant, but regular. But then he's gotten the acting chops that he could grow into the part as it progressed. And she can't do anything wrong as far as I'm concerned. So I was happy to see her. So I liked it okay until they got to the farmhouse. Now, I have the kind of movie I call the Terrence Malick movies, which are ones where I'm sure the director accomplished what they set out to do, and it's not for me. And so I can't say it's a bad movie. I can just say it wasn't for me. But some of them piss me off. And that's when I think they're being purposefully obscure. Now, David Lynch comes to mind sometimes. So in this one, my first thought was, okay, he probably knows what this is all about, but nobody else does. And that bothers me because why does he make the movie? And then I thought, wait a minute, it's based on a book. So the author of the book knows what's going on. So that's at least one other person. It's got a lot of good reviews, and some of the critics have really broken down what they liked about it. They admit it didn't make sense, but they didn't care. So I thought, well, I shouldn't necessarily be all that pissed. Then I read that both Jesse's Plemons and Buckley said at one point, I think it was Clemens, he said, yeah, when we make a scene, we didn't know what it was about. So we had to decide. So we know how to play that scene. And we work with that. But then they didn't know what was going on either. He said, when I saw the movie, I go, oh, I don't know what that was going on. So anyway, I found it obscure on purpose, as if to say, I know about this, and you're stupid, you don't know. Well, it's got me, you know. And it's like, you think I'd be impressed when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we get an entire review from Pauline Kael coming out of the mouth I like. Except I was just thinking, oh, he wants us to know he's read Pauline Kael's review of Woman Under the Influence more than, oh, this is good for the scene. That's the Wes Anderson syndrome, I guess. Make sure you know all the things he knows. So all in all, it went on forever, but I didn't really mind that in the end. It was more that once it lost me, it never got me back.
Did you, and I assume you both, I mean, I saw the Pauline Kael book on the shelf, but I didn't
Yes.
pick up the line from the review, because that's a review of hers I probably would have read once in my life, because I've never seen the movie, so I've never
Supposedly
connection.
the irony, I didn't look, but I have no reason to not believe it, is Book on the Shelf, which is one of her anthologies. The review of Woman Under the Influence isn't actually in that book.
I read that somewhere online too. Yeah.
But why does that matter? I don't know. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
also flashing. So
Did you catch the reference, Phil? Like in the actual quote from?
I had read about it ahead of time, so I knew it was
Okay.
coming.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I spotted the book on the shelf before it was actually read. I probably did. Yeah, I mean, one thing I wanted to say, I don't want to get off into Mr. Robot. I really don't want to, but I got to ask you, Stephen, you everything you just said about this film, you didn't have that problem with Mr. Robot where you thought it was just being, because I'm half the time I'm just lost to Mr. Robot, but I don't worry about it anymore. I just enjoy the things that I do.
I don't say that it bothers me, but let's say it interests me when I get the feeling that they're making it up as they go along. It's like if you'd asked him in season 1 what was going to happen in season 4, he'd say, I don't know. I'm ready season 4 yet. But
okay, so that's different in your eyes.
It's a different feel.
Okay.
And I always felt with Mr. Robot and with other things like that I enjoy is that there may be some obscurities in what we're seeing, but I'm confident that the person making the thing wants us to get something out of it besides, aren't they brilliant? So in something like Mr. Robot, I just felt like I'll trust him.
Okay.
You know, and then that doesn't mean it was a perfect show. You know, it was very erratic, but
Right.
did it right. Did it right for me.
What is the actress's name? Because she's also, she really makes an impression in the 4th season of Fargo. She has such a strange character.
Jessie Buckley.
Yeah. And I saw the film, the Charlie Kaufman, after I started it before I watched Fargo.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know who she was.
Right.
Couldn't get past the Jesse Plemons and her in the car, and went back to it after I finished Fargo from the beginning. And now I know who she is. And yeah, she had quite a year between those two.
Apparently she's a great singer as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Just to pile it on. And she was doing an accent because she's Irish.
Yeah.
We would have needed those subtitles we talked about if she had actually spoken in her regular language or dialect.
What? Sorry, what was that in? She did the accent?
It's that she's from Ireland.
Oh, she's from Ireland. Oh,
It doesn't sound like somebody from Oklahoma.
okay.
That's all.
Well,
So she was doing an accent.
What's interesting about that, and I think I did sort of catch this. It's one of those things, but it didn't really occur to me until after I read one of the reviews of it. But then it came back to me right away. So one of the reviewers, who I think really liked the movie and sort of got a kick out of the Kael stuff, mentioned that she actually changed up her voice in that part to try and impersonate Kale. And it did sort of, I did sort of think of that. Like, I think she did sort of have an interesting inflection in her voice. Now, I didn't catch at the time that it was that she was actually reading from Kale, but I could sort of recall that scene where they were talking about the movie. And I think she did. And this reviewer, I can't remember, it might have been IndieWire. They were just praising her
David
performance to the skies. Like the person was saying
very much.
She was it was an incredibly, I think they even used the word risky performance and stuff. And
yes,
didn't I think once in the car, her face changed?
I thought so too, and then
Yeah.
I decided I couldn't tell. It was a view from the side.
Yeah,
I thought that's not her profile. And you know what? That movie, who knows?
It was weird. I think my two favorite moments in that were when I thought it was going to turn into an actual horror film. One of them, obviously, What's Downstairs, behind that door.
Right.
The dog scratches on the door.
The scratches on the door, yeah. That was total, horror movie thing. And then when they went to the ice cream place and the one cashier that didn't get along with the other two, she kind of dropped her voice and she said something like, get away or get away, something like that.
Made it really sinister. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought both those moments were really effective.
Yes.
I did like that scene a lot.
Made me wish I was watching Get Out.
I've heard comparisons to that, but I've never seen Get Out. So.
Yeah, I could see that. I think the actress in Get Out, the one who really unnerved me, who was the African-American housekeeper, I think she was in The Last Small Axe, Scott. I think she plays the Hazel.
Really?
Hazel, I think that's her.
Okay. She's one of the women who sort of takes the kid under her wing or not.
Yeah, pretends to be the psychologist.
Right.
When she goes. One thing I've read about Charlie Kaufman, see what you guys think. I don't have any theories on the film at all. That she doesn't even exist.
Yeah, I think I read that too. That it's really the janitor is really
It's Jesse Plemons, right?
The person, and he's imagining this life that he didn't have with his younger self being Jesse Plemons and this great woman that he hooks up with or whatever. And she's not perfect, like in his view, because there are some breaches and I can't remember. There's a few things she said where he wasn't completely captivated by what she said or something. But yeah, I sort of read that theory too, and it kind of makes a little bit of sense. I think the book might intimate that. I'm not sure. So.
I can understand there's lots of people, they like a kind of movie where in the end it's all explained by this thing and then they want to watch it again and see how it all fits. Me, I'm more of the who gives a shit. What do I really care whether she was real or not, or whether the janitor was him? No, not really. And it's not that I don't ever like that kind of thing, but I've often said, first I decide if I like something or didn't, and then I decide if it was an 8 or a 4.
Well, exactly. I was just going to say,
first.
If you're not enjoying it while you're watching it, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Even if someone comes up with a clever interpretation where everything fits together, it's not going to make me like the film anymore. I have to like it while I'm watching.
Yeah, and I would add that I will watch it again. I did like the movie, but I won't watch it. I mean, I assume some more of it will make sense. Like you'll pull some pieces together and stuff you missed. But I'm not really. I won't watch it again because I'm driven to figure it out necessarily or what happened. I mean, I was kind of like that a little bit with the TV show The Leftovers. Like it was in the season 1. It was early on where I realized I don't like it's better to just sort of have it as a mystery in the background, like what actually happened or whatever, like and it never does get explained what actually happened. But I think they said a lot of viewers of that show did leave the show when they realized that it was never going to get explained what happened, like why did 2% of the world's population disappear? And I just got over that kind of quickly myself and liked the show for a whole lot of other reasons while having that sort of mystery in the back of my mind. So
what's the title song? What's the title song of season 2?
Yeah, Let the Mystery Be. You're right.
Oh, that's right.
There you go.
Think about that.
Unconscious.
Is that also a segue to The Nest with Carrie Coon? Since Carrie Coon was such
Yeah, we can talk about that. The one last thing I wanted to say though about the Charlie Kaufman, I did like it. I'm in between. Someone that loves it and Steven. I'm not sure that film would have got as much attention as it did if it hadn't been 2020. I mean,
Really?
it was a slow year for films. This really strange thing comes on Netflix, right kind of at the peak of the first lockdown, I guess, when nothing was coming out. I think that really helped it. I would not say that about Small Axe. I think Small Axe would have been a big deal without the pandemic, but I think the Charlie Kaufman film. We have a friend, Stephen Tim Powis, who is kind of obsessed with the film Synecdoche, New York, who's seen it now 3 or 4 times and has told us more than once about this guy on YouTube that gives a really close analysis of it. He's watched that and he loves that film and does try to figure it out.
I'll just add that maybe my one point of contention with what Steven said is that I actually really liked when they got to the parents' house. For some reason,
I like that. I did.
Some of that stuff actually cracked me up. I loved the parents actually. Like it was weird and it was very Lynchian.
Yeah.
And I am drawn into stuff like that. Like, and sometimes I wonder if maybe I'm drawn into stuff like that because I am such a literal person. Like I find it really hard to think in abstract terms, but I'm very interested in art that does have that quality to it. And I don't know, but I found that scene just in particular really quite hilarious. And it did remind me of some of the Lynch stuff, like it almost a little bit of Eraserhead-ish or something, or
very much so. David Thewlis and who's the actress?
Toni Collette. Toni Collette.
Yeah, looked like they were having a great time.
And you came anyway.
The other two, the young actor and actress, Jesse Plemons and his girlfriend, they had to kind of be serious and stay inside this space where those two look like they were having the time of their lives. What was the line that cracked me up where Jesse Plemons was getting very impatient? He kept mispronouncing something, physics or...
Genus, the Genus edition of Trivial Pursuit instead of the
There
Genius.
was that, and there was something else when
okay.
there was Genius, and then his parents said, "What are you studying?" And she said,
"Yeah, what was
and
that?"
It was just slightly wrong.
Yeah, I forget what that was. That was good too, actually.
She was studying about 7 different things by the time I noticed.
Including American film.
No, she was a poet, a painter, like
Yeah. I know.
Actually, I like the poetry stuff in the car too. Like I couldn't really connect it to anything, but I just thought it was very nicely done. I liked when she was
all the
reading that
poetry
long
and all of
poem.
her drawings were up in that in the basement or old bedroom.
Yeah.
There.
The twins
Anyway.
at the ice cream parlor, they were out of Lynch too.
Oh, completely. Yeah,
They
that's Twin Peaks territory.
They were
for sure.
spooky.